Let's talk about grammar. Yeah, I know. For a lot of us, that word probably brings back some not-so-fond memories of rigid rules and, those endless sentence diagrams. But what if we'd been looking at it all wrong? What if there's a way to see language not as a set of dry instructions, but as a living, breathing system? Something built from stories and metaphors and just pure creativity.
You remember this, right? Staring at this complex tree of nouns, verbs, and prepositions, feeling totally disconnected from what language is actually for. Telling stories. It felt so clinical, so abstract. But what if there's another way in?
And that is the big idea we're diving into today. This approach completely flips the script. Instead of just analyzing some sterile blueprint, it invites us to become architects of meaning, to actually build a structure for our ideas to live in. It's a huge shift from deconstruction to straight-up creation.
Okay, so if we're going to be building with language, we first need to get to know our materials, right? This whole philosophy reimagines the basic components, the parts of speech, by grounding them in something way more tangible and imaginative than just abstract definitions from a textbook.
And this is the core philosophy right here. By taking these abstract rules and planting them inside a living, breathing story, they suddenly become real. A noun stops being just a person, place, or thing and turns into a vital piece of a world, something that feels immediate and, honestly, important.
So check this out. This is the central metaphor. A sentence is literally a house. It's a structure that you build to give your thoughts and your stories a home. And the parts of speech? Well, those are the elemental materials you use to build this incredible linguistic house.
And to make this super concrete, the philosophy uses two parallel systems to understand these building materials. In one system, which is rooted in Yoruba tradition, the parts of speech are elemental forces. So, earth words are your nouns, the very ground you stand on. Water words are the verbs, the action that flows over that land. And then, in another system from a pioneer story, they're things you'd actually find in the woods.
Now, showing these two frameworks side by side, that's a really smart move. The four elements system gives you this universal, almost mythological way to get language, while the woods gives you something tangible and ecological. It teaches us that the deep principles of grammar are kind of universal, but we can understand them through the lens of all these different specific worlds.
And this dual approach keeps going, even for the smaller, functional words. Are conjunctions like spiritual gifts of the Orisha that let life and light flow into the house? Or are they the mechanical notches and pegs that physically bind the structure together? By giving you both, you learn not just how these words work, but also the poetic why. It's brilliant.
So we have the big idea, and we have our building materials. But real learning, true learning, it's not just something you do with your brain. This approach is amazing because it integrates the whole person, mind, heart, and body, through what it calls thinking, feeling, and willing.
This is where it gets physical, believe it or not. To get the thinking and willing parts, students do this activity called the forward/backward march. They actually step forward for each word they add, and they step backward for each space. An abstract idea becomes a real physical experience. Your body is literally willing the sentence to exist. How cool is that?
And to engage the heart, that feeling part, the curriculum uses rhythm and poetry. This line here is from the 5 Elements of Speech poem. By putting these big metaphors into songs and poems, the concepts just sink in differently. They bypass the purely analytical part of your brain and become part of this intuitive, emotional landscape.
So you see what's happening here? It's this beautiful synthesis. The mind thinks the concept, the heart feels the rhythm of the language, and the body physically makes it happen. Understanding isn't something you just get on a worksheet, it's embodied. It actually becomes a part of who you are.
All right, let's put it all together. Let's see how all these pieces, the stories, the metaphors, the whole body learning, come together in a practical, creative way that really empowers students to use everything they've learned. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's the big finale. After getting totally immersed in a story, students get to use their new toolkit. They aren't just diagramming random sentences anymore. No, they are using their new understanding of grammar to rebuild and talk about the world of a story they now feel a part of, answering those big questions: where, who, what. This is where theory really becomes practice.
And this brings us to the final, absolutely beautiful metaphor that ties the whole thing together. The entire act of creating with language is framed as weaving a fabric on a loom, as described in this traditional Pueblo poem. Just listen to that. In this incredible analogy,
Students learn to see all those parts of speech, the earth, water, fire, and air words, as elemental threads. The foundation of the sentence, the subject and predicate, are the warp and weft of the loom, and they get to weave all these threads together to create something that's coherent, meaningful, and just beautiful. And this is the ultimate transformation, isn't it? The goal isn't just to make students who can pass a grammar test. It's to cultivate active creators. They start to see themselves not as just passive learners following rules, but as weavers of language, as empowered storytellers who can craft their very own garments of brightness.
And that really is the question this whole philosophy leaves us with. It completely reframes the purpose of teaching language. It's not just about showing someone the mechanics of the loom. It's about inspiring the weavers and making us all think about the beauty and the strength and the meaning of the fabric they're going to create for our world.